I want to take a little time here today. I came here yesterday and I realized that not a lot of history is known of this gentleman. Um, Moses Watson. He lived from the year 1700 to 1782. He was a Revolutionary War quartermaster, in fact. And I want to do a little bit of history of this because this area, you have a lot of Revolutionary War graves that are people buried here. Now, Moses Watson served as a private in Captain William Donelson's company in the Cumberland County Militia, it says. Later as quartermaster under Colonel John Proctor of the Westmoreland County Militia. According to the Commonwealth Commemorative Biography Records of Central Pennsylvania, 1898, he had received 7 bullet wounds during the war. He's noted in the history of Unity Chapel as having the first recorded burial here, as he died in 1782. So this is the oldest grave that there is. So I'm going to take a walk over here a little bit, a couple steps away, and I've got William Finley. William Finley was a patriot and also a member of Congress. Okay, this is a senator right here. That was one of the first senators of the United States, right here. And right next to him is John Proctor, the one that I was mentioning. It's nice that they've put these plaques in, because a lot of these, they've replaced them, were older and have worn down to where you can't read them. But John Proctor, nobody knows when he was born, but he died in 1824. He was the originator of the battle flag of Westmoreland County, which carried a rattlesnake flag. You'll note this flag right here. Don't tread on me. It was a British flag. So Moses Watson was John Proctor's quartermaster during the war, which is right over there. So what I want to do is I want to take a little bit of time and I want to just focus on what this was before this was here like it is now. Down there is a marker that the original church was down here. So you got a church here. Here you have the grave of John Proctor. This tree wasn't here, obviously. This was just basically a hillside. So why would they choose it at this place? It's a nice hill. It's got a lot of room. And it was all trees. It was all old growth trees at that time. You can imagine this is the original area of Latrobe. You want to think of Latrobe? This is it. Okay. So people living through the winter with tax from tribes that the British had paid to attack the colonists. These are people living in log cabins. These are people that are living on the basic necessities of what they have. They're hunting deer. But in the same account, you have Moses Watson that is born in the year 1700. And he is with Arthur Sinclair, he bought his land from. So he's, up until this point, I don't know what he did in the 1750s, but he would have been about 58 years old when George Washington and Forbes crossed the Allegheny Mountains. And they founded Fort Ligonier, everything. This guy was alive at that time, and he didn't live here, so he migrated over, because 1750s was about the time that people first came over. So he came from out east. He came here, and he's starting this land, and they're trying to find what they can get out of this area, and they're starting to become very independent. They're starting to feel very far away from the king, far away from the other settlers over that way, towards east, and there's a lot of German-speaking people here. And these people came, a lot of them, Watson, a lot of these people are Scots-Irish. They were kicked out of the area during the Jacobite revolutions in Scotland and Ireland, and they were kind of pushed onto this continent, told, come here, we'll give you land. So these are the second, third generation people. In his case, probably the second generation that came here, originally starting out on the East Coast. And Moses Watson would have been one of the older men. He would have been older than George Washington. He would have been almost the same age, almost about, as General Ford himself. And so the militia that they formed to protect their community was not just about the idea that, you know, these people were going to fight the British. It was about that they were seasoned people that had seen the war. They'd seen it from 1758 up to 1777, almost 30 years of their lives. Most of this man's life was us being at war. And they saw a lot of savagery. They saw a lot of things that happened, both sides, with the British and the French. And when they kicked the French out after 1758, this area opened up to the British coming in. The colonialists taking it over. And they said, well, why do we have to give all this to a king? So you're surrounded by a lot of these Revolutionary War soldiers' graves. And they can't speak to you, but if they could, can you imagine the stories they could tell you? Mr. Finley up there, a congressman, one of the first guy that invented the Don't Tread on Me flag, John Proctor, so many of these other people. I'll show you another story. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of an interesting story of this area. It's right up here. Reverend William Spear, he was a patriot too. He was a very young man during the Revolutionary War. He would have been barely 20 even, and this is his grave. You can see it's very well written. I can read most of this now, and it's beautiful in the lettering on it. It's very dark though. But his wife Sarah Spear, we'll talk to her. Her sister was married to a famous congressperson as well. But sacred memory of Sarah Spear, consort of Reverend William Spear, the 8th of August, 1804. No warning given, death sped, and lightning left her pale corpse for this cold bed. Wrung tears from many friend, and thundered for to prepare for the judgment. So she was sitting at her, window, whatever she was doing, and a lightning storm came by and it struck her because the windows were very sparse at the time. You didn't have all the protections we had now, and this woman died. You can see the brickwork. And this is brickwork from about 1804, 1808. That era, and it's been probably repaired through the years, but really amazing. Gives you a context to look at the people that fought in the Revolutionary War and settled this area in the early 1800s, late 1700s, early 1700s. Their struggles, right over there by that big monument there. That's where the original church stood. So this was their religious spot, You take it all in.